Let's just make sure that we're going live in the SN Coach family group. So if you can hear me, would you please put the number 1 in the comments so that I know that everything is working. Thank you so much. Okay, it seems like we're live. All right, guys, I am so excited tonight. I just wrapped up chest and tries. I'm on my second round of lift 4 and my arms are shaking right now. I am super excited. I have my phone with me right now. So for those of you guys on Facebook, I can see your comments. I know this is going to be a call that has a lot of follow-up questions because we are talking about Instagram, one of my absolute favorite topics. And I was going to give like everything to you guys, and I realized there's not enough time tonight to break down everything. So I selected, first of all, I don't know everything. Second of all, things are always changing. Third of all, I'm doing my best. So there's nothing that's law. I'm going to share with you guys what has worked for me and what does work for me. But instead of giving you guys a watered down version of everything that comes to Instagram, growing your following, getting engagement, sharing your journey, most importantly, tonight we're going to talk about content. We're going to talk about how I develop content, one of my absolute favorite things, something that it may or may not come natural to you. I don't know if you're like me. I would do this for free. Like if you ever ask yourself the question, what would you do if the coaching opportunity went away? And I would suggest that you guys do that. It's a really great exercise because it shows you the things that you do just because you love it, because it excites you, it makes you feel fulfilled or re-energized. For me, I would be sharing my journey and creating content online, no matter what I'm doing. And so for those of you guys, this is gonna give you some really awesome tips to keep doing what you're doing. This stuff excites me. And then for those of you guys who are totally clueless and you're like, I like to work out and I like to make healthy recipes or whatever other area, just build a community that you really prefer or you excel at or it re-energizes you in this business. I guarantee you it's going to give you some ideas on how to get better with your content. And then I'll do different parts as we go along, either throughout the month, it doesn't have to be a team call, or throughout the rest of the year with specific apps on building a following. But I really felt like this deserved its own slides. So without further ado, I'm going to close this out and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So I'm a very visual person, and I feel like when it comes to creating content, it's also a very visual game. Videos are obviously really important, and we've learned a lot about how like videos allow you to connect with people on a trust level. Once they know they want more of you, typically they know in the first few seconds if they're for you, but because of our attention span, photos and content is really important. And this is a disclaimer that I want to make. I know many coaches who have enormous followings who do not make the impact or the income in their business that you would assume. Conversely, there are coaches who are Instagram illiterate, who make 5 figures a week. So Instagram following and content does not equal getting your challengers results, getting your coaches started right, building an organization full of depth of people getting results and paying it forward. Those things are not, they're correlated, but it's not the cause. So I just want to repeat that one more time because I know many amazing people. I can think of a few of my coaches who are going to take this and they're going to run with it and they're going to love it and they're going to sink their teeth in because they're just like me when it comes to creating. But if you're not creating with the intention of bringing on new customers and coaches and helping them get results and reach their goals, then you're just going to be creating. That's fine. I'm not going to define for you tonight what your goal is, but it's very important that you have that goal in mind. What I'll also say is I want you to get really specific about your goals when it comes to Instagram. So when you say, I want to build my following to 5,000 followers, or I want to get 50 likes a photo, ask yourself why. if you sincerely want to reach that benchmark for you, I have Instagram following goals. I actually put them on the back burner right now because I have more urgent goals. There's nothing wrong with having that goal, but ask yourself if it's really going to keep you warm at night. Because like I said, it doesn't correlate with new challengers, new coaches, or getting them results. You could just be getting likes. And I think that, I know we all talk about how it's the highlight reel and it can be a comparison game. Why am I not getting likes? Ask yourself, why does that matter? The goal should be, a great goal should be, I would like to have 10 new leads each week through my Instagram, rather than a certain follower number, because we can get ourselves feeling frustrated because we're not at a certain level. But what does that level really mean? That's really helped me. When I view my content, the goal of my content is to add value, inspire people, and help them get to know me and what I do without me having a conversation with them. So I'll be 100% frank with you guys. This is going to be me sharing with you what I do. I do not prefer to start conversations and reach out cold. I don't do it. I would rather spend 10 times that energy creating content that will attract people to me. And I take ownership of the fact that if my content is not bringing people to me, that I have to Google it, I have to research it, I have to figure it out. And I work until my content is getting people attracted toward me. Rob and I were reflecting on the beginnings of Shred Nation. And back in 2012, we didn't do reach outs. We didn't teach reach outs. Our invites were with people who were coming to us or they were commenting on our photos. And we really engaged in with our followers. That was not a cold invite reach out. And I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just being honest about what I hear being taught. And if it works for you, like I loved Kate Morgan's Instagram webinar from a few weeks ago. There were some of you guys who were on fire and it's working for you. That doesn't necessarily work for me, and it's not something that I prefer doing. And because of that, you don't. What I found is you don't just get to say, well, I don't like to do that part of the business and expect the results. I am willing to do 10 times more work on this side so I don't have to do those reach outs. Almost like, well, I want to have that cheat meal, so I'm going to do a second workout. That's what's right for me. And I'm going to continue to build my business that way because creating content is what inspires me and keeps me on track. So tonight, what I'm going to be going over are these 6 different points. The first one is checking yourself always. You are a CEO. Even if you don't want anything to do with this business, you just want to share your journey on social media. You have to be self-aware about how your content is being received and what kind of content you're putting out there. But what I love about this is it keeps me accountable on my journey. If I'm growing, am I showing what's really going on? Am I like this is the part that I adore, and it really keeps me on my game. The second thing I'm going to be sharing tonight is how to create content inspiration collection boards on your Instagram. This is all about working smarter, not harder. You can work smart and hard at the same time, but there's ways to be more efficient with the way that you're posting on social media. The third thing is how to use Pinterest for content prompts. So how do I come up with ideas? How do I know what to post? I'm going to show you exactly what I do. Number 4, creating content in advance. Actually, I don't know if I have a slide for that, but I'm going to be covering that. Number 5, the website Planoly.com, and how I've used that to actually look at the insights of my content on Instagram and also plan it out in advance. And this is something that I've only been using since the end of August, and I wanted to share it with you guys. It's really an awesome accountability tool. And then finally, something called presets. If you've noticed, certain Instagram accounts have this beautiful same look and feel. It's not a filter. It's something like a filter called a preset. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a 101 crash course on what that means, how you can get one, and how you can find more trainings on how to use presets. There are a really huge edge right now. And another thing that I'll share about Instagram is, let me just stop my share for a second. When it comes to social media And when it comes to what the network is doing, this is my advice, and this is what I do. For you brand new coaches, the National Wake Up Call is amazing because it is geared specifically to new coaches, emerald level coaches, or coaches who are still working on the vital behaviors. But if you're the kind of person who wants to go above and beyond after you've built that foundation of consistency, you can't rely on the National Wake Up Call to tell you what to do when it comes to social media. Social media is constantly changing. And by the time someone has mastered something and they're sharing it on social media, it's probably been around for a few months. Also, on the National Wake Up Call, someone is telling the entire network of coaches, this is what I do. So you better believe there's a significant portion of Instagram that is then going to start doing the things at the same time. And it can sometimes render it a little bit watered down, or it just becomes what's typical. That doesn't mean it's not effective. But what I've found is the sooner you can find an edge, and guess what? If you don't have an edge right now, you can find an edge, because every single week there are things that are changing on social media. And it's not like you have to guess, you have to Google. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But the sooner you can adapt something new or something different that works, or that will work, or that someone that's saying it works is working themselves, the better off you're going to be. So I absolutely recommend, like, perfect example. I listen to the National Wake Up Call every single week. I take notes every single week. We have actually this National Wake Up Call notes tracker. If you go to bit.ly/NWC notes, you can find this tracker. I specifically have a section that says #1 takeaway to act on today. I don't act on everything. I act on little bits and pieces, and I only apply them when I can start to do it consistently. But when it comes to social media, if you want an edge, you've got to do your own research. And you've got to be ahead of the curve. Okay, let's get started. So first, I want you guys to check yourself. I want you to check, #1, who are you following and why? This is something that I would recommend that you do totally independent from working your business on social media. Like, who are you following for you? Not for Coach You, for you. Who inspires you? One thing that's really cool is if you go on your Instagram and you click on the following, who you're following on your profile, the people at the top are actually the people that you search and you interact with the most. And something that I learned in just independent research on YouTube and Google of Instagram is that the people that you see at the top of your Instagram stories are not like your stalkers or the people who look at your posts the most. There are people who happen to see that story that you look at the most. So that was a little bit of a nuance that I thought was really cool, because you could be stalking this person that, like, I love them, they inspire me, and you know, they'd be an amazing coach, or I love to work with them, and you see them at the top, and I heard someone say that that means that they are looking at you the most. Well, it's the opposite. You're looking at them the most. So you can actually click on your following and on your profile and see who you follow the most. Who are the people that you look at the most? Many of them can be coaches. I'm sure some of them will be family and friends. But then there are going to be other accounts that are influencers, people who probably create really great content. And that doesn't necessarily mean great professional photos or that they post 10 times a day. Great content means that it's a quality piece of information or photo that is giving value to you. And that's what great content means. And so that's why there's not a perfect formula. Yes, sometimes people with gorgeous photos are going to get more affinity, but there are also just as many people shooting on their iPhone, but their caption and their story and who they are is such a valuable example that people flock to them. And so look at that, and I want you guys to make a list of who you follow. I just wanted to bring up a few different people that I'm really inspired by on Instagram. The first person is Amy Rada. She is somebody that I have personally watched. She enrolled years after I became a coach. I have personally watched her grow her following from a few hundred people to exceed the following that I have built since 2010. So this totally breaks the excuse that you have to have gotten in early, both in network marketing and also on social media. And I'll look at her content. I'm like, wow, I never thought about doing this, or I never thought about doing that. I want to be very clear that I will never copy someone. I will be inspired by them and the theme of what they're posting. So very clearly, there's a quote and a message behind this. And then her meal prep, and then Amy is working at a coffee shop, and then post-workout, and then Sundays, and then football, something that is totally irrelevant to coaching but has to do with her identity. If you go and look at certain people's Instagrams, you'll get ideas, and inspiration, not copy and paste. And guys, even if you think nobody's going to realize it, there are I see it out there, and people can sense it out there when you're not using your voice or you're completely imitating people. So use this as inspiration and proof that you can, post all different things. So there are some Beachbody coaches that I like to follow. What I tend to do is, after I follow them for a season, I unfollow them. Nothing personal. I've just kind of gotten my fill of what they're doing, and then I move on to someone else. And what I also recommend is, we're responsible for our own feelings, but if you ever start to feel like jealousy or down on yourself when following someone who has it all together, the first thing that I want to remind you is that they're human, and this is their highlight reel. And I'm going to show you the exact strategies that I use to make my Instagram a highlight reel. Also authentic, but it's not a real-time, real life, one-to-one sort of scenario all the time. But also, two, when you see that, I want to remind you, it's proof of what's possible. It's totally proof of what's possible. Number three, it's proof that there's something that they have that you want. And it's not a matter of only they can have it. It's actually showing you, wow, I really want to get my office like that, or I really want results like that, or I really want to be that consistent with personal development. And so for me, whenever I feel sort of like that maybe a negative side of studying people or using them as inspiration, I always ask myself, first of all, I thank God for their example, because how frustrating would it be if there were no examples on what to do or how to post or what consistency looks like. Like, I'm so grateful that there are literally hundreds of examples of Beachbody coaches alone who are doing it the right way, authentically. I thank God for that. I also have to check myself and get myself back into an abundance mindset, where the reason this person has a following or has this great content is because they're creating value. And value is a limitless resource, an unlimited resource. You can create that same value yourself. And then finally, if you get to a place where, like, I'm just comparing myself too much, there is nothing wrong with unfollowing someone. It just simply means for this season, they're not the person you want to put your focus on. So Ashley Molstad, somebody who, she's the #1 coach in the company right now, and her stuff goes viral pretty often. She had a post that was early on, I think it was reposted by Ashton Kutcher, I'm not sure, that's what I heard, but she just has the most incredible array of different pieces of content. And so I like to go to her. This is also an example of a preset. Like, you can, once you know what it is, you can spot it a mile away. Everything sort of looks the same. The pinks are a little bit pinky. Like, the colors all look the same. She's using the exact same preset on every single photo. And you can actually see when people start using it. I'm going to show you guys this. But if you scroll back far enough, you start to see that this like pinky color isn't present in every single photo. Yeah, so all of a sudden right here, you see how it's like, it's a beautiful, beautiful Instagram, but now it looks like normal, right? And then you scroll up, and all of a sudden there's this vibe. There's this pink, and there's this warmth to it, and the colors are super vibrant, and everything starts to look very cohesive. This is something that you can actually buy for like $5 to $10. I bought a bunch of them, and I actually by accident bought one that was like $100. And I made that mistake for you because I found a ton of different cheaper versions, and I'm going to show you a little bit later on exactly how to use this. But you can see all of a sudden the difference right here. Oh my gosh, it's way more cohesive, and it adds to the value of this content. And I want you guys to implement this as soon as possible if this is right for you right now in this season of your business or your goals, because you're going to have an edge, and then soon enough everyone's all going to have presets. I use presets, but I don't use the same one every single time. So my photos look really edited, but they don't look cohesive like this. So I'm still working on finding my dream preset. I also love to follow Danielle Natoni. I just wanted to give you guys examples of people whose content is consistently awesome and valuable. I also look at people who are not Beachbody coaches, and I think that's really important. I've been following this girl, Amber. She's an Oxygen cover model since forever. And so I like to just see what other influencers are posting, what kind of content that they do. She's also using a preset. That's why everything looks very similar. I like to follow Jordan Dooley from Soul Scripts. She talks a lot about faith, and she's got a really, really loyal following. Now, I'm not trying to duplicate her following or steal her following. I'm trying to see what kind of stuff she posts and see how I can do the same thing. And then finally, I like this girl. I didn't even know her name. I just knew her content is super scroll stopping and beautiful. And what you'll notice, I want to show you guys, like, this is not all real time. So here's this phone booth photo. And then here's another phone booth photo. And I bet you down here, there's another phone booth photo. So what they're doing is they're creating content. They're taking like 5 to 10 to 20 photos and in a set, and then they're not using the content all at once. So for those of you guys who change your hair all the time, sometimes this isn't as valuable, but it's not always real time, and it's just as valuable and just as inspiring. All right, back to the presentation. Okay, so who are you following and why? Ask yourself that question, and from there, that's the kind of content that you want to start posting. Like, what inspires you? What do you gravitate toward? Chances are you gravitate toward it because it aligns with your life. Guys, I can't believe it's already like 30 minutes in. This is why I had to dial back this content. The third question to ask, what kind of content energizes you to make? Rob and I recently, we use a Canon and an iPhone, like Canon camera. I think it's Rob can put it in the comments. It's like a Mark III or something. It was an investment that we made because Rob wanted to learn photography, and we decided that we wanted to add that layer of content creation into our business as a sort of creative expression, because we're both creative people who like a new challenge. So when we create content, I don't feel like I'm working. We have fun with it. We like to learn how the lenses work and the light and the editing. There's got to be some sort of content, whether it's recipes or it's motivational personal development takeaways, or it's something that it like pumps you up and is fun for you to create. That is what you should be posting. And if you don't have that thing, it's really important that you connect with that, because people are going to sense when you're doing something because your upline told you to do it versus you really want to do it. And that kind of energy is actually, and that kind of authenticity check is what I love about this business, is it keeps you accountable to being energized and being in it for the right reasons. Number 4, of that content, what can you post frequently? So is it, for me, a silly example was last week or 2 weeks before, I was getting up really early consistently, and there was a beautiful sunrise outside every single morning. And so now when I'm up that early, I know that a sunrise post that just has a nice filter on it and a quote about the morning that I post early is going to get amazing traction. And that's something that I can post frequently that was received well. And I'm going to show you how you can figure out if it's received well in a moment. So start to think from that content that I look for in other people, that inspires me when I find it, that energizes me when I make it. What can I post frequently? And how can I use that as a self-check on my journey? And then finally, ask yourself, what is stopping you from posting consistently? This is something that I, as a sponsor coach, used to take ownership of. And my life changed when I realized the things that are going to stop you are going to stop you. Whether I do an ebook or a PDF or a team call or a video, on it. So you got to own that. And you've got to own that there are people with crazier lives and busier lives that are making this work. And that's not to shame you or guilt you. It's to empower you. That when you feel like you're stuck or you feel like I can't do that, instead of saying I can't do that, ask yourself, how can I make this easier? How can I be more consistent? A very simple practical tip. If you go on Amazon, there are suction cup smartphone holders for like your dashboard, your windshield. And there are also tripods that are like $7 to $9. And one thing that was stopping me from posting consistently, it's not an excuse, it's an efficiency thing, was I couldn't find my tripod after my workout. And so what we decided to do was spend $40 and get 4 tripods. So we have one in the space for our gym. We have another in our living area. I have another in my office, and then I have another, I don't know where else it is, where it is. But if you're posting somewhere consistently and it's taking you time to set up your phone to take photos, how can you make that easier? That simple thing of that tripod not being where it was supposed to be added 10 to 15 minutes sometimes of me searching for this thing and then being frustrated and that energy going into my post. That kind of application you can apply to anything and just ask yourself, right, how can I make this better? How can I make this easier? How can I streamline this? And that is how, when you look at people and you're like, how do they freaking do this? It's because they ask themselves that question again and again and again. You either win or you learn. You don't lose unless you choose to lose and you choose to have a pity party for yourself. All right, let's dig in. Guys, I got a lot of stuff for you tonight. So when I said an idea is to create collection boards, what you can do when you're actually on a photo, in the bottom right-hand corner, there's like a little ribbon. And that button on the bottom right-hand corner, when you click it, means you can save a post. Now you can just save it, or you can add it to a collection. And a collection is a folder, or like a Pinterest board for Instagram. And there's actually also, when you save posts on Facebook, a very similar thing as well. So you can do this exact same thing on Facebook when you click the 3 dots and you save a post. Now from here, I wanna show you guys, I have like 15 boards, but I wanna show you 2 very relevant examples. The first one is called poses. Nobody can see it but you. And so anytime I see a pose that like I wouldn't think of or I wouldn't figure out myself, I save it. That way, when I'm creating content or I'm doing a photo shoot or I'm after a workout and I'm like, what do? I don't want to do this like everyone else does. I want to stand out. I want to create beautiful content that inspires me and inspires other people. I go to my saved collection of poses. So as you are scrolling, make it worth it. And when you have a scroll stopper, or you see great affinity, or you see a great photo, you see lots of likes, you see lots of comments, save it to a poses board and then try it out. Getting in front of a camera for many of you guys is a new thing. It was new for me. If you specifically want to leverage this opportunity also as a fitness influencer, I understand that some of you guys don't want this, and that's fine. But there are many of us who creatively long to create this sort of a brand, and you can teach yourself how to create these poses by saving Pinterest pins, Instagram posts. I also have this other one right here, and actually our own Jess Dukes is on there. I just opened this and I actually renamed content to questions, because I saved all these posts because in every single one of these posts, they asked a question that elicited a response in the comments that was like, I think Jess in this one was like, well, what's the temperature where you are? And in this one right here, this is Lori, I think her name is Lori Harder. I know she's a super big podcaster. I don't know her name, or I don't know her book or her stuff yet, but she's amazing on social media. This is her husband. And he said, where are you from? What state did you grow up in? And so all of these posts have questions in it that created a huge amount of response in the comments. Sometimes, like I know for me, I do my own check yourself. I'll get lots of likes and people will like my photo, but I won't get comments. And so what that says to Instagram is like, I'm not going to put this in someone's feed because no one's engaging with it. So it could be a great photo. So sometimes your content's good, but the caption isn't as great. And again, this is not building your Beachbody business. This is like an Instagram deep dive, and I want to explain what I've learned along the way. So these are where I save these posts. Now, I don't use these until later on. I don't want the exact same thing in the newsfeed of the people who follow, for example, me and Jess. So I might go back and use that 3 months from now, but I have that in the hopper. And then if you think about it, as I continue to do this and spot those posts, I'm going to have dozens of examples of these things that I can ask that are going to generate content. What I also want to say I learned is that for many, and this is going to be for another webinar because it's more on followers and it's more on engagement and ghost followers and what that means. But the very short version of it is Instagram used to be a consecutive timeline. So when someone posted at 101, it showed up here. And then the next person posted at 105 and it showed up here. And they didn't scramble it up and choose it based on how relevant it was, like Facebook. So when people ask me, how did I build my following? I built a large portion, probably like 30 to 40,000 of my that was 20 to 30,000 of my followers back when people couldn't miss my posts. So it's a different game now. So you may look and say, well, you have 50,000 followers, easy for you. Well, I also get 200 to 500 likes on my photos. So you better believe Facebook, Instagram, all of those followers are not seeing my posts. And I was frustrated. And when you guys get frustrated, I encourage you not to post in our coach groups, because how crappy would that be if every time I got frustrated, I vented on you guys. I treat our Facebook communities like my energy impacts your energy, and I'm going to show up either with a solution that I found or a positive attitude, looking for you guys together with me to help find an answer. And so I'm like, I have 50,000 followers. Why am I getting 200 likes? And I Googled and I went on YouTube search, Instagram engagement, August 2018. It's really important when you search for social media tips that you search based on what time of year it is and what month and what year it is, because things are constantly changing. And what I found out is that what Instagram does is it takes a sample, so 10% of my 52,000 followers. And what it does is it delivers my content to 10%. And based on how that 10% reacts to my post, it decides this is a valuable post that I'm going to send to the next 10% and the next 10%, or it sucks. No one's commenting, no one's liking. That's the nature of this game right now. And I'm going to choose to learn it. I'm going to choose to have fun in the process. And so what I found out, just as a side note, this is why I want a ton of comments in the photo on my photos to say to Instagram, this is relevant, put it in my other people's feeds. But I'm learning this stuff just like you, and I'm excited about it. It's a challenge for me, and that doesn't mean I spend 8 hours a day learning it. It means that very tripod that is a suction cup windshield tripod, I put on my bathroom mirror. And when I'm doing my skincare routine and I'm in the shower, I am listening to a video on YouTube. Or when I'm in my laundry room doing laundry, I am listening to a video. So it doesn't mean you have to devote your life to this, but if you want to learn it and you truly want to have Instagram influence, you've got to roll with the punches, because at the end of the day, we're lucky that we get to use this app. I am grateful someone invented it and I get to connect with people who want to connect with me. I'm cool learning the rules of the road, and that's fine that I have to kind of pay my dues. I'm going to Google it and I'm going to figure it out. So this is what I do. I create collection boards, and that helps me create better content. From there, I use Pinterest, and I have used Pinterest for years for the same intention of I create secret boards so people don't see what I'm creating, but poses or ideas to as inspiration. One of my favorites is writing and content prompts. So I will actually share this board in the comments of this live video, but from here, you can actually just search journaling prompts, and it asks you like all these awesome questions. Are you doing what you truly want to do? How many promises have you made, and how many of them will you fulfill? Is there anything you can't let go of? I mean, that's a little bit dark, but introduce yourself, your first love, your parents, what you ate today, your definition of love, your day, your best friend, a moment, your beliefs. There's never an excuse to not know what to post, guys. Like, it's just a matter of doing the work. And what's cool is a lot of them are based on month. You can also search on Pinterest or on Google, Instagram photo challenge. And there are years of someone else creating, 28, 31 different post ideas based on a month for you to use. And so if you want to sit down for an hour at the coffee shop and bang out, 15 posts, that's 15 different captions. That's 15 different things that you can get started on. And you can either add the photos as you go, or you can create the photos in advance. All right, next step. This was the slide, okay. Create content in advance. I just copied and pasted. I was like, I don't think I created a slide for that. So when I say create content in advance, this is what I mean. Oh, was I I don't think I was screen sharing, guys. I'm sorry. Let me go back. When I was talking about using Pinterest for prompts, I don't know if I was screen sharing for this, but this was the collection boards. This was my poses. This was the questions. Sorry about that. It was almost a flawless webinar, but I'm almost positive this is creating some light bulb moments for you guys. But these are the Pinterest prompts. So I will post this board in the comments of the Facebook Live, but you can also just search Instagram challenge. And I'm actually going to show you guys. So Instagram photo challenge. So if you type in Instagram photo challenge, you literally cannot stop finding things to post about. So anytime anyone says I have nothing to post about, just tell them to Google Instagram challenge. But next, so create content in advance. When it comes to creating content in advance, what I don't mean by this is like get all your stuff done at once and then don't show up for the rest of your life and your business for the month. What I do mean is, okay, perfect example. Monday was super busy last week, and I printed out a whole stack of my National Wake Up Call notes. And I had the time to take photos with my nice camera, and I took maybe like 50 photos. You can do the same thing with an iPhone. You do not need a Canon. You do not need an Nikon. If you want one, invest in one. If you can't afford one, set a business goal to pay for one. iPhones and Androids and all of that, like, they shoot amazing. Google the megapixels. It's like better than cameras years ago. So I had the time to take a bunch of different photos of me, on the National Wake Up Call, or my desk from above, or this stack of photos and a candle lit. That's the kind of stuff you can create in bulk. When you have a certain amount of time, photos of your shoes. A really cool thing that's a great idea is something called a flat lay. And a flat lay essentially is a photo of a bunch of different items laying flat on the ground. So you probably have seen that with hair products. You can actually Google it, and I'll show you guys. I mean, I hope you guys don't take it condescendingly when I say you can Google anything. And when I ask you, have you Googled that? I guarantee you I'll Google your question and I'll find the answer like right away. And if I can't find the answer, it's because your question's too vague. And then you break down the question and the answer will be there. So like, I'm gonna type in Instagram flat lay. These are flat lays. So all of this stuff you can do in advance. You're energized, you don't have to do it perfectly, but you can have someone else help you. You set up all the items, you do it in advance. It doesn't matter when these things are posted, but they're beautiful and they're inspiring. You can do that kind of stuff in advance. In addition to that, what I like to do is, I know Jamie Ennis does this or did this for a very long time. I'm starting to do this with Rob. What we'll do, Jamie and a bunch of other coaches would pick a day where they'd create all their content. It'd be like for the week. It'd be like a 1 to 3 hour window, and it'd be fun. It would be a reward from doing all the vital behaviors. And you would try on different outfits, and you take photos like, you know, the ones that are posed, but they get the most engagement because they're beautiful and they're thoughtful. And again, going back to what other people do for their content, like, it's smart. It's so freaking smart. I mean, this, for example, was probably real time, but that wasn't. Another person that's really awesome is Nikki Whiting. I think it's Nikki Whiting Fit White. Please. Nope. Okay. Nikki Whiting is really great, but like for a lot of these photos, like this is going to get a lot of engagement, and it's not like she's doing it real time, and no one's mad about that. So for example, on this photo, they would take 10 photos, 15 photos and paste them out. Once you start to notice it, once you start to like look at someone's social media, you will start to see like, oh, I thought I remembered a similar photo like that. If someone notices, it's either because it's way too obvious or because they're paying attention, which is the goal. So create that stuff in advance. One thing that Rob and I are doing now, which is really fun, in terms of using our Canon and our Nikon, we literally have this little adapter that's a USB port, and you take the photos, you pull the card out, you stick it in, and I edit on my computer. It is just as easy for me to edit photos and upload them on a Canon or a Nikon photo camera as it is my iPhone. So it's not like I'm taking all these extra steps. Once I build that system and like avoid the obstacles or get rid of the obstacles, like where is the tripod, it's really simple. So what we've been doing now, which is really fun and energizing us, which is coming out in our content, and our coaches have even said it, is we'll pause during lift 4 and we'll do a whole set where one of us taking photos of the other person. Now, if you don't have someone to take photos of you, use a tripod. Another really cool hack that I have is I will set my phone up, like when Rob's not around, I will set my phone up on video. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I do. I'm going to take a video right now of what's going on, and there's all different angles and things happening. When it's on a tripod, it catches you moving. So like I actually prefer when I'm taking photos of myself to use a video, and then what I do is now that I have the video, I'm going to turn the volume down. So the video is playing, right? What I do is I tap the screen and I press pause, okay? And now the video is paused. Now I tap the screen again, and at the bottom, you can actually scrub. And scrubbing means that you very lightly change, like per second, the frames. And so what I do is I scrub it until I find a frame that I like, and then I tap it so that there's nothing on the screen again. It's paused, and I screenshot it. So I could be like awkwardly, flexing and smiling by myself, and then I pause it and I scrub it and I find the shot versus taking 30 minutes to get the shot. This also works really well with action shots. So if you're jumping or if you're doing like, different exercise movements, when you take a video, you can just take lots of different screenshots. So one video or one flex session with a tripod, you don't need a person to help you do that. You set up the angle, and then you can take 10 to 20 shots from there and then edit them. So I hope that helps you guys. But what Rob and I are doing is we're pausing during lift 4, and the other person is taking photos, and then we have content to use. And our goal is to launch a website this year and create blog content with lots of beautiful photos. So it's really fun. And like, I don't care if I don't get paid. I don't care. Like, this is something that energizes me. So find that content. Like, I don't care if I don't have crazy successful numbers. I don't care if this results in someone saying yes. I don't care if people follow me. I don't care if people follow my blog. I want to create the content for fun for my blog. Find that stuff, and that's going to be your sweet spot, truly. All right, moving on. Back to the presentation. Okay, so create content in advance. I covered that. Now, guys, I'm going to share with you something called Planoly. P-L-A-N, plan, O-L-Y, .com. Now there is an app for it. The first time I heard of it, I thought it was just like a really cool app where you could plan your grid and you could figure out how things look, because sometimes you're guessing when you're posting, like, I hope this looks good next to the other photos. And then you see other people who have beautiful grids, everything looks super cohesive or thought out, and you think to yourself, how do they know? How do they know what it's gonna look like? And they use a grid planning app. I don't use Planoly on my phone, I use Planoly on my computer. So what's really cool is that this is actually a scheduling website. It's free. I pay for the pro membership because I get to have 2 accounts linked to it. So I have both me, I don't know why it's not showing up, me and Rob on this account. And what's really cool is not only can you see the grid of the posts you already have, but it shows you when you posted them, how often you posted each day. You can click on them and you can see how many likes and how many comments you got. You can, with just your eye, see, wow, I get a lot of affinity early in the morning and I don't get as much at 2 p.m. You can also keep yourself accountable to see how often you post. So guys, believe it or not, on the 31st and then the first week of September, I was using Planoly like crazy. But guess what? Like this one I posted when I was doing it. But this one, is this Rob's? For whatever reason, Rob's is showing up. It's merging our accounts. I don't know why it's doing that. But a lot of this I scheduled in advance. So this was a photo I took of Rob. And then what we did was we scheduled it throughout the day. So I only have to be on my Instagram once. And I schedule it all through my computer, and then it triggers it and it goes out into my Instagram account. Now, I don't necessarily know if I get less engagement because it's auto scheduled, but what I do know is that it kept me consistent. It made me more present. It made me excited. I could focus on my personal life a lot more, and I could focus on my business more effectively. And then I also had this snapshot of how often I really was posting. And so when I was saying to myself, well, I'm consistent, really? Because I wasn't consistent from the 17th to the 23rd. Like, I didn't realize that. No, a lot of the stuff that I'm posting is on Instagram stories. And so that's kind of a trap that I can sometimes get in, where I think that I posted, but I didn't. And another thing that I'm learning and that I found is that the more like real and messy your Instagram stories are, the better it counterbalances, not necessarily the perfect stuff, but the planned out, curated stuff that you post in your grid. So I didn't feel like I was being inauthentic or like showing this highlight reel on my posts, because that was planned out in advance, and that's what people look for in their newsfeed. They go to their Instagram to see your pantry and like, you know, this messy video or you just as you are. And so I love that balance, and that really helped me. And so what's even more cool is you can actually just click add new media, and you can, I did this before. I'm gonna go back to screen share. So what you can do is just click on add new media right here, and then upload directly from your computer. So this really helped me. I was editing stuff on PicMonkey. I was editing stuff in Lightroom, which I'll get to in a second. And so it was really simple for me on my laptop anywhere after I plugged in my card or I airdropped a photo from my phone to my computer. I would just upload it right away. You can also just send a photo after you've edited it on your phone as a message and drop it right in here. Now, another really cool thing is you can put a ton of content. You guys have never seen this content. So like, this is a perfect example of what, like one miracle morning, I just took a ton of photos of like my coffee. I took another one from a different angle of the couch and my dog. And then I took another one of Zoom from this angle. And so I'm gonna post these as I go. I also posted like, why are for whatever reason, Rob's photos are also showing up because we have the same account. But like, I took these really awesome photos of Rob that I edited with a preset in Lightroom that I bought from Etsy. And so we have this content in advance. And then like this photo and this photo was from the same shoot. I also did like a Shakeology shoot. Like, you can do this stuff in advance. And then from there, what you can do with the unscheduled stuff is you can rearrange it. I'm not going to mess up Rob's stuff, but you can rearrange it and drag and drop it so you like the way that it looks on a grid, and then schedule it out. And when it's scheduled out, it shows it in the calendar right here, so you can see, oh, I scheduled up 3 posts for the day, morning, noon, and night, or I scheduled 1 post. Don't freak yourself out if you're not posting every single day. Post once a day, and then once you get that down, post twice a day, or whatever your goal is. So this is Planoly, really, really fun, love it. And then finally, presets. So presets are that beautiful thing that the second you use it, it makes a photo look gorgeous and consistent, a lot like Ashley Molstad's Instagram. And you'll start to notice it once you see it, like, wow, this looks so cohesive. You'll start to see it all over the place. So what you can do is go to Etsy, and all you have to do is type in the search button presets. And like I said, I bought a $100 one that before I knew better, I mean, it was a business investment, and I knew that in going through that, I'd be able to teach you guys. So it was worth it. But then I found out that there are $5 versions available on Etsy. So it's like buying an app. And let's just say you really liked this, like really like washed out, cool toned, bright version. All you would do, you can scroll through and you can actually see the before and after photos of how it impacts. It's like a filter. Now, what I'll also say is that you do have to tweak like the brightness and the clarity. It is not like you just put the preset on it and it perfectly edits it. But for the most part, it's very consistent and it creates the same kind of look and feel. So what you can go through and see the before and after photos. And then from there, all you have to do is click add to cart, and you will get emailed a file called a DNG. And so what you're gonna do, please go on YouTube if this is something you wanna do, and search how to use Instagram presets or how to use mobile Lightroom presets. Lightroom is within the same like company, Adobe, as Photoshop. So Lightroom is what professional photographers use to edit their photos. And a preset is like a recipe where once they kind of know the light or they kind of know the look and feel, they save the different edits that they've done as a recipe or a preset, and they save those different settings. And then from there, they can upload all their photos and add that preset, and then lightly tweak them based on the small light differences or blurriness so that everything looks cohesive and beautiful. If you've ever had a wedding photographer, if you've had a baby photographer, or if everything looks very similar, chances are they use Lightroom, and chances are they use presets. Lightroom does cost a certain amount. I think I pay $9 a month for my Lightroom, but I believe the mobile app is free. And so what you do is once you buy this product, you get an email. Open that email from your phone, and there will be a .dng file. And that file is like a JPEG or like a GIF. And so when you save it, that's the end of the file name. It's going to show up like an image in your camera roll. And then there are steps. Almost every single preset that you buy comes with instructions on how to use it. But essentially what you do is you upload it to the Lightroom app, and then you open up that photo in Lightroom on your phone, and then you click copy settings, and then you open up the photo that you want to edit, and you click paste settings, and then in there you can tweak it. So this is advanced, but this is something that I wanted to share with you guys, because these are one of the things where people are going to ask, what filter do you use, or and people probably aren't going to answer because it is an edge, and I don't blame them. When you have an edge, or when you figured something out by researching it, it is an edge. It's an advantage. So if you were looking for that look and feel, I highly recommend that you check this out. And luckily it's a $5 investment, and there are tons of different options available on Etsy and tons of different tutorials. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to look and see if you guys have any questions. Cool. So yeah, Carmen, these are all on Etsy. I think you might have asked that question before I shared the screen share. I don't have a referral code for Planoly, but let me find it and I will drop it in the comments for you guys. Let's see. Oh, I love it. I love it. Someone said, my Canon app. Do you pronounce your name Chianti? That's so beautiful. My Canon has a phone app where you can use the phone as a remote and just download it to my phone. Another really cool hack for taking photos, it's like $7 to $10. You can get a Bluetooth remote on Amazon along with your tripod, along with your suction cup, smartphone holder. Relatively cheap, and you hook it up to your Bluetooth like you would headphones, and then from there what you can do is you can actually just hold it in your hand, and instead of doing that video hack that I showed you guys, you can just click the button and it will take photos. Okay, Heather, so Heather asked, are any of the presets free? There are free presets. Great question. Google it. If you Google free presets, you will find them. I have downloaded free presets. I have not loved them. You can get a package of 100 of them. If you don't want to invest the $5, what you just download the free ones. You will have to test a photo over and over and over and over and over again to see if you like the look and feel. For me, I knew that was the look I wanted, and so I downloaded it. I'm still figuring out which one is right for me. I went to dreamypresets.com and they were beautiful. And I bought the millennial pink preset and it was $100. And it's beautiful, but it was $100. And so it was a lesson learned that I should Google it before I invest in that. And then I saw someone doing it on Etsy, and these are like $5, $6, and they're just as beautiful. So I think I bought like 4 of them, and I'm gonna try them out myself. There's also, if you guys don't want to do Lightroom and you're like, I don't, if it is a little bit complicated. So you have to decide, is it worth it? Once you kind of figure it out, it's quick and you can do it on your phone. I actually prefer to do it on my computer. I prefer to take all my photos and edit on my computer. I love that. But there is an app called VSCO. And if you go on Pinterest, I'll actually show you guys. If you go to Pinterest, and you type in VSCO filter or themes, this is a very similar sort of thing where all of a sudden, look, all of these themes are available. And essentially what it does is, let's just say you really like this dark, moody, ardent theme. What you can do is it says C1 plus 12. And so there's a scale on it. I don't know if you can see me. There is a scale where it goes from all the way, like, let's just say, for example's sake, it's -15 all the way to +15. This will tell you to take the C1 filter and move it up to 12. And then within that filter, you can move the contrast down to -1.5. So it tells you exactly what to do. And guys, there are so many different themes. So you might want to try this. What I've found though is it isn't as effective as this certain look. Like, this look is really popular right now. So if your heart is set on it, try to find some, tinker around with VSCO. But if you want to try Lightroom and you want to invest the $5, what I have found is that the Etsy ones are almost guaranteed to be effective. I don't know what it is, excuse me. It's like the whites are whiter and brighter in this certain look. But this is what bloggers are doing. And they're the ones that are growing the fastest. So I always pay attention to the people who are getting the most influence. And then from there, I tweak. And so this is my final note for you guys. When you ask, like, tell me everything that you know about Instagram. I did not learn this overnight. You will see in my Planoly, I'm not crushing the game perfect with my consistency. I'm learning how to work 1 or 2 of these things into what I'm already doing, and I build upon it. Just like if I was running a marathon, I wouldn't start running 26.2 miles. I would start slowly. So be excited that this is what we get to do. And this is a part of our job and our influence and the creativity and the expression that we can have. And these tools are available to you. From there, pick 1 or 2 things that are going to help you be more consistent with your PD. with your fitness journey, and they're going to give you energy, not suck the life out of you. So if you find yourself being like, you know what, good for her, she doesn't have any kids, her husband supports her in her business, like no wonder this is just so easy. One, it's not easy for me, so if it's not easy for you, the dogs heard that. If it's not easy for you, like, no, it's shared and it's complicated, but I'm excited about it because I signed up to coach so I could learn and I could grow and I could keep myself accountable and I could express myself and share my message, like many of you guys. But I take it bit by bit. And I always link it to, because I have very, very big business goals. I have people counting on me, coaches who want to learn and grow, customers who want to get results, my family who I'm fighting for. I just found out today that my mom's job is closing its doors. Her job's not going to be there anymore in a year. I'm fighting for my mom. I'm fighting for financial freedom. So I tie these creative things to what I get the privilege of doing, which is coaching people. And I take it a step at a time. So just pick one or two things and know this video will always be available to you guys. Love you, appreciate you. This was part 1, content edition of my Instagram training for the year. And I hope this was helpful. I got to crash because I got to be up early in the morning, but I will definitely be in the comments answering your guys' questions as best as I can. And if I can't answer them as good as I can, or as good as you'd like me to, I challenge you to type that very same question into Google, that very same question into YouTube, and I guarantee you, you will find someone who has more experience and a better edited video teaching you what you want to learn. So thanks guys for being on. I appreciate you so much.